or should I say wagwan. It is Kiki here, back for another video. Don't mind my dog whining in the back. He's in heat, so that's just another thing to deal with. We have two dogs, a boy and a girl. So, oh my goodness. All right, so back to what I was saying. He's starting up again. He was just quiet for the longest. I'm taking this outside. All right, guys, it is a frosty Florida day. It is currently 33 degrees. The low for today is 29, so it is super cold. There's ice all over my windshield. It's gonna be a long one because yesterday was so unbelievably windy and cold, and I've been wearing this jacket like it's too cold. But yeah, come along with me today. All right, so in this video I'm gonna tell you guys how I started my food truck. So come along with me, come learn some things. I'm gonna let you guys know the things I wish I knew, the things I wish I did, all that good stuff, so that way you guys can get your own food truck / food trailer. So let's go. I have a couple errands to run, so once I'm set up, then I will really get into the nitty-gritty of it all. And the ice in question that's on my window, I have my defroster thing on. What if nope, that didn't work. Alright, so I'm gonna let this car finish warming up and melt down some of this ice. It's not super thick, thank God, but yeah. Okay guys, we are settled in on the food truck now, and I have some downtime. It's still pretty early, so not too many customers were at the car dealership today. But yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that starting a food truck was not an overnight decision, and it was not an overnight process either. It took a lot of time and research on my end of learning and picking people's brains. One thing I definitely recommend is if you are contemplating getting into the food truck business, talk to your local food trucks. See what it's like in their shoes. If you can work with one, even better. You can always work with one to get some experience, or if that's not really an option for you, ask questions. Do not be afraid to talk to people, network, ask questions, and really put the bug in people's ear that you're interested, because a lot of the time I found that 9 times out of 10 the food truck community is very welcoming, very helpful, very honest, and I have had an overall good experience talking to fellow food trucks in my area. Now that's in my area. I'm in Florida. I don't know how it is for other areas up north. I don't know if they're more competitive, but for my specific area, talking to food trucks around me, everyone has been nothing but forthcoming with information, very honest, and yeah. So, and then that's what I try to share with people as well whenever I get questions from other people who ask about a food truck, the process, all of that. So I have some notes here to kind of keep me on track. So in my notes, you know, I have a passion for cooking. I always have as a kid, and I went to culinary school, as most of you guys know. So just because I went to culinary school doesn't mean that I was cut out for a food truck. Nor does not having culinary school experience means that you're not qualified to have a food truck either. Anybody can do this business, honestly. And one thing that I did learn in school, and I'm not saying my food isn't good, I got good food, but they taught us that, one, your food does not need to be top notch in order for it to be profitable and for it to be sellable, because there's always going to be someone out there that likes your product. Okay, so if you're thinking, I'm not sure if I'm good enough, this and that, sharpen your skills, number one, because you do want to put out a good product, a product that you could stand by, that you could sell, that you are okay selling because your name is behind it, your brand is behind it. So don't put out an item that you don't think is up to par, up to quality. But in general, you don't have to be the most perfect, most creative, most whatever kind of business to get a food truck started. There's people who do hot dogs and they make a killing. Hot dogs need to be studied. I'm sorry, hot dogs make a true killing. But yeah, so that's one thing they taught us in school, is that you just need to know how to manage your business. You need to know how to run business, and that's what they kind of stressed to us in culinary school, is that we're not teaching you guys how to cook. They said you guys know how to cook. It's about, they wanted us to become business owners, become executive chefs. They wanted us to hold positions in you know, higher areas, not just your average everyday cook. We are not cooks, we are chefs. So that is the difference there with, you know, culinary school. But if you're getting into a food truck, you know, you need to start thinking of yourself like, hey, I'm the chef, I'm the owner of this truck, I'm the one who navigates everything, I'm the one who creates everything, etc. Now, if you have a team behind you, that is amazing. If you have the help, that is even better. Me, I am one person. I am just a girl, but I'm a girl with a dream, okay? So for my food truck, before I got into the food truck, this is what's really important. I was working at a country club, and then eventually I did step back from that job and I started just working on my own stuff on the side, and then I started working again with Target. And in that time, I saved my money aggressively. I lived at home because I graduated college, moved back, saved some money there, right? I have no kids, just have a dog. Always have a dog. So I already didn't have a lot of living expenses, so that was a plus for me. But not everyone is as fortunate as I am to be able to have those savings under their belt, being able to live with their parents. If you can make those adjustments, awesome. I think the biggest thing is to start with your finances. That is what you need in order to start a food truck, okay? So for me, I saved money by living at home. I saved my money when I was working. And I also started selling plates on the side. So I would post weekly my menu, I would take pre-orders, and I let people know, okay, the food will be served on this day, and I offered pickup and I offered delivery. Now, if I was doing delivery, I would charge a fee to deliver, and if I was doing pickup, there was no additional fee. You just pay for your food, and you tell me what time you want to pick up. So that was a nice way to get my name out there. And I got some money from doing that every week. Week after week, I did different menus. It wasn't all Jamaican food. It was all varieties of food. And I'll insert some clips and pictures from my meal deals, is what I used to call them. It used to include an entree, a drink, and a dessert. And it would range anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks depending on the food item. So like 20 bucks would be my oxtail plates, or 10 bucks would be like my taco or my nacho plates. You know, I really had a wide variety of things that I tried and tested, and social media was the biggest help in spreading the word that I'm selling plates. You post on Facebook, you post on Instagram, you post your reels, your TikToks, all of it. Utilize your social media. You could pass out menus to different businesses and flyers and stuff like that. Let them know like, hey, I'm a certified chef, this and that, here's my menus, I deliver, offer catering, etc. So I was really working my business before I had the food truck. I was selling plates, and when I wasn't selling plates, on the weekends I used to do farmers markets. And at the farmers markets, I couldn't do the hot food, but I did my drinks and desserts. And that's where my lemonade pouches were born. That's where I got my start with that. And then I was doing cakes in like a little foil tray cakes with like the little lids. And then it turned into cake jars now, which is what I do on the food truck. But at the time, they were the little foil personal size containers. They're personal cakes. I always sold them for $5, and then my lemonades were $4. And then I would do different flavors of the cakes every week, and lemonade options, I would mix it up right in front of them. So it was also something that was interactive with my customers. And I bought a banner. I got my banner from, I think at the time, Office Depot. Office Depot is now closed in my area, but the banner was like no more than 50 bucks. I don't think it was even that much money, but I bought a little banner for my tent. I had a nice little setup. I will be sure to insert some clips and videos of that, because I did farmers markets for a while, and that also helped me save money and make extra money on the side. Another thing that I implemented is crowdfunding. So I created a GoFundMe, and then I shared that once again on all social media. I let people know my backstory, that I'm a chef and I'm saving for a food truck, and then this is my goal. So I'm telling people who I am, what I'm saving for, and how they can help contribute, share, stuff like that. So crowdfunding is certainly something that is helpful. And yeah, so just really being transparent with people, letting them know what your goals are, speaking about it, talking to strangers. Like, you really, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm very introverted. I actually can't stand talking to people. I avoid social interactions if I don't have to. But I had to break out of that shell, because if you're gonna run a business, you have to be able to network and make those connections. So going to the farmers markets, that really helped me come out of my shell, and it really helped me, like, when I talk to people, I don't have a problem talking to people, I just prefer not to. But doing the farmers markets really got me out of that and really made me more forthcoming with information and really like talking to people instead of waiting to be talked to. So that is something that certainly helped me when I was getting ready to open up my food truck and really go full force. So after about a year and a half, my mom and I, we went to a local place that sells trailers. They sell concession trailers. And so in my area, it's called R&R Trailers, and wonderful people. They made the process so easy. They showed us every like trailer size. Like, mind you, my mom and I don't know how to drive a trailer. Well, my mom kind of knew how to drive a trailer before, but we weren't really like educated on anything. And so the concession trailers put us in contact with a food truck builder, and that's how I met my builder. Now, my builder doesn't build anymore, he did retire, but he did an amazing job. And the way I went about my trailer, so once I bought the trailer itself, I bought a 7x12 trailer, and not trailer park, the trailer seller, the trailer dealership, whatever you want to call it, I don't know the proper name. They helped me pick the size, they showed me my options, and I have videos and clips of that whole thing too that I will include in this video, so you guys can kind of see when I was like choosing things and kind of just touring and looking at the different build outs they had. At the time, the builder also had a couple like preset trailers that were already kind of done. I think they had like a coffee trailer that was built out and stuff like that, so it was really cool to see. And also, that was my first time stepping into a food trailer. So it was really cool to kind of set it in perspective, to kind of really visualize and see the type of trailer that I want, the size that I need, what I can afford, etc. So even if you're not ready to pull the trigger and buy the trailer today, still go and visit those trailer places to really visualize the type of trailer you want. So I went there a couple times actually. First time I went, had no idea what I was looking for. And that's when they told me, okay, well, first you want to start with what are you selling in your food truck? What type of equipment will you need? Because the equipment that you need will determine the size of your trailer, okay? So I had to go back home, took some time, kind of put together a tentative menu of what I wanted on my food truck to kind of get an idea of what equipment I needed. And I know I needed a fryer. I know I needed some a freezer, a steam table, cold station, stuff like that, right? So those are just the basics of what I needed. And being that I am a small business, it's just me running things, I didn't need a super large one. And also, you have to keep in mind, I don't know how to drive a trailer. Like, at the time, I didn't know how, so I didn't want anything too big. And I'm also trying to stay within a certain price range. Like, I really just wanted to get my start, whatever it looked like. And that's another thing that I learned along the way, is that you don't have to have everything right away, right up front, okay? You could start with what you have, and that's exactly what I did. I started with what I had in terms of selling plates. I started with what I had in terms of joining my local farmers markets. It's not the exact food I wanted to sell, but it was a food that brought me money. Lemonades and desserts, who would have thought? I mean, I never considered myself to really be a baker, but I did improve my baking. I was never bad at baking. That's actually how I got into the food industry, was baking first. And then when I went to college, I decided to focus more on overall culinary and cooking. So, don't doubt your skills that you have. There's always room for improvement, room for growth. And yeah, if you don't know anything, that is okay. This is like what people are here to learn from. Like, you ask your questions, you do your research, you go back to the drawing board, and you plan. Planning is the biggest portion of getting into a food truck. You want to plan every step, you want to plan every detail, okay? It's absolutely crucial. So once I looked at the trailers and I figured out a tentative menu of what I wanted to have, and I had an idea of the items I needed in the trailer, the trailer saleswoman helped me pick out one, okay? And I will go over the specs of my trailer. I don't know, maybe in this video, maybe not, I don't know. I have to get like the details to really tell you guys. But yeah, once again, 7x12 trailer. The trailer I chose didn't have a wheelbase that was sticking out on the inside. That was something important for me because I wanted more space in here. Sometimes there's trailers that the wheels stick out on the inside. I'll mention that in my clips that I include. But yeah, choosing the right trailer for you is important. And then from there, I got connected over to a builder. And then from there, the builder, very experienced. He's been building food trucks for about 18 years, and he's been in the food industry for, I think he said, like 35 plus years. So he was well experienced. Now, I didn't have to go that route. So as you guys see, the thing above me is called a hood, and that is our fire suppression system over here. And that is what is required if you have any fryer or heating propane elements. Those elements have to be underneath the hood. And the hood is the most expensive part in the trailer, okay? So when I chose my trailer, just the shell itself, the build out, you have to be mindful of cost, okay? Not everything has to be built from brand new, or you know, not everything has to be so complicated. Now, I was fortunate enough to have everything brand new in my trailer, but that is not the only route you have to take, okay? I saved the money. I really utilized my credit cards, and that's how I was able, and then the crowdfunding, that's how I was able to afford my food truck, okay? Those, three things: savings, credit cards, crowdfunding. That is my big three, okay? Like I said, aggressively saving, credit cards. I'm like skipping around. I'm so sorry, guys. One thing I wish I knew, key point. When you open an LLC, now at the time I was young and I had amazing credit, and I did not take advantage of it as much as I should have, okay? I learned about credit card stacking way too late, but it's still something that could be beneficial to you if you are starting a new LLC. When you apply for a business bank account, it requires your EIN, right? And we'll go into depth on all these terms and whatever all this is in another video. But learning what credit card stacking is, when you guys are done watching this video, go look up credit card stacking for LLCs, okay? You are able to open up lines of credit within each credit bureau to kind of grow your business's, you know, credit and stuff, and have more credit lines. So at the time, I had one business credit card, and then I had personal credit cards. And I utilized my personal credit cards to get my food truck. But in reality, what I wish I knew is that I wish I used my LLC to do the credit card stacking and then put the business purchases on that side. I did not know that was a thing. I didn't know I could get multiple. And like I said, I learned way too late. At that point, my credit wasn't shot, but my credit did go down because of my high usage, because I used my credit cards to get my trailer. I wanted it that bad. And it's not like I'm buying a house or anything or a car. I didn't need good credit. I didn't have bad credit though either afterwards, but it just wasn't as high as what it was when I first started. Had I credit card stacked when I first applied for my business credit card, oh yeah, I would have been golden. So like I said, do your research on credit card stacking, because you don't have to finance your trailer and you don't have to take out a loan. And the cool part is that I fully own my trailer. It is paid off. I paid off my trailer within my first year of business. So I have no payments on my vehicle, and I have no payments on my trailer. I own this. So that is something that really worked for me, because I utilized my credit cards and I paid them off. I was very aggressive with my savings, and once I finally got the ball rolling on the trailer and everything, like, there was no stopping me. So back to the build of the trailer itself. So I chose my items in here, and then I had to ask my builder like about the hood sizing and stuff like that, because this is a small trailer. I'm in a 7x12, and so he recommended the 6-foot hood because that's what's required to fit over the elements that I have. So that, once again, is the most expensive part of the trailer. We'll go over expenses in another video. But yeah, you guys don't have to start as big as I did with the hood. You guys can get a smaller hood. You guys can get a bigger hood. You can get less equipment. You can get one fryer instead of two. okay? And you don't have to source things from brand new. I chose brand new because I don't know how to fix anything, okay? I'll be very honest. And my dad doesn't live in Florida anymore, so I can't rely on him to fix everything until he visits. So for me, starting brand new was more peace of mind for me, since I don't know how to do anything. Now, if you are handy and you know how to build stuff, build your trailer yourself. Like, find your elements yourself. Everything that's in here is purchased from, there's a online restaurant supply store called Vevor, VEVOR.com. Okay, make an account, apply for their business account, and they'll give you discounts on shipping. And this table came from here, those fryers came from there, my fridges came from there, my steam table came from there, and the builder just simply orders it from there because he already had his commercial account. So he does all the ordering, but you guys could do the same thing too, okay? So it doesn't require, the builder didn't really charge me much extra to put the stuff in here. Most of his, and he was very, I love my builder, he was very transparent. He said most of his money when he builds the trailers comes from the fire suppression and the hood work, because he's certified to do this. And that is where most of his money comes from, because he's specialized, certified to do this stuff. Everything else is a matter of running propane hoses and screwing things in and drilling things here and there and stuff like that. I'm quite sure if it came down to it, I could figure out how to build it myself. I mean, I have family, I have YouTube, and I have Google. So I could have built it myself, but I went the easier route because 1, I was working, 2, I was finishing my master's degree, and 3, I just didn't want to do it myself, because, like, no, not when I could pay someone to do it properly, you know? And I'm investing my money, and I took the time and I saved all this stuff. So that was just my route. But you do not have to start with every single element in your food truck. You could always get started and add on as your business grows, add on things as you profit, stuff like that. And also, you could even run an electric trailer. I have a propane and electric trailer, so that required a hood system, which is the most expensive part. But there's trailers that operate off of just being electric, meaning they utilize steam tables, they utilize plugged-in elements, and they're not required to use a hood. They have no open flame. So that is another route. If you just simply want to start a food truck, you can go the electric route, and you could do concepts such as nachos, tacos. You could do all kinds of stuff with just electric elements, you know? You're not limited. Do your research on what type of trailer suits you and what type of menu you're aiming to have. That is like really the biggest thing you can do in order to start your food truck process. So yeah, just get your menu together, have an idea of what elements you want, figure out if you want to go propane or if you want to go electric, and that will be the difference in cost right there. If you're going electric, it will be cheaper. If you're going propane, it's going to cost you more. Okay, and then eventually, once you get your start, your build, you have an idea of where you want things. Like, I literally had a pen and paper and I drew where I wanted things to be, and that really helped me have a visual on what I needed, what size, stuff like that. Okay, so that was super helpful in acquiring the food truck. Once I acquired the trailer itself, I then met up with the builder and I brought it to his house. That's where he operated, and I left it there for like 2 weeks, and he did the build out. And for the most part, I didn't have to have him build it out in one setting. Like, he could do things piece by piece. So if I only had money to install the fryers, then he will just do the fryers. Then if I had the money to do the fridges, then he'll do the fridges. So I think we did a couple trips with him, maybe 2-3 times, because I didn't have all the money right up front, which was perfectly fine with him. He was willing to work with me piece by piece and do things as I had it. So yeah, so he was super helpful. That builder gave me so much insider info and knowledge that I'm going to share with you guys as well, because there's so many things I did not know about the licensing process and the inspection and just driving tips and strapping things down. He did all that little work for me and told me about it, how to do it, all kinds of stuff. So super helpful that you guys really do your research, keep up with my videos, that way you could, you know, be put onto these little tips and tricks and things like that. Once again, well, I didn't say this at all, but I did not come, my family is not in the food industry. I'm the only one. So nobody in my family had restaurant experience. Nobody had food experience except me. So all I have is the information that I learned from school, information that I learned from cooking in other restaurants, and stuff like that, right? So just really talking to people, I can't stress that enough. Networking, talking to people really helps you go further in your business, okay? After the trailer build is then the inspection. The inspection time, that process took a couple months because you have to like submit paperwork, you have to submit like different plans for approval and like a layout of your trailer, submit pictures and all kinds of stuff. And so that took some time, and then you finally get an inspection date, and you have to find a commissary and all these other things in between. So once that all got set up, I finally was able to get on the road with my food truck, and we've been open for about 2.5 years now. It will be, I'm going blank. I opened in 2023, we're in 2026. Okay, so it will be 3 years in August that we've been open. So I have just learned so much along the way. But yeah, after, I got this trailer on the road, it's been no stopping. I've had a lot of hiccups, a lot of problems, a lot of things that I had to navigate and figure out, a lot of unexpected expenses and hardships, and you name it. I've been through the ringer, especially in my first year was definitely the hardest year for me. But yeah, that's the process and how I got my trailer. I'm gonna insert some videos and clips. All right, so, you guys almost fell over. But yeah, that's pretty much how I acquired my food trailer. And then when I got a food trailer, I had to get a new vehicle because the vehicle I had at the time, I had a Mazda CX-9, which is like a crossover. Definitely wasn't strong enough to pull a trailer. So then I got a Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, something like that. And that's a story for another day. I don't have that vehicle anymore. But all of those are factors that you have to keep in mind with acquiring a trailer. Is what vehicle are you going to use to tow it? I talked about towing in another video. Go check it out on my recommendations for vehicles in terms of what to look for, what to watch out for, stuff like that. You just want to make sure you have a good tow capacity, but all of that will vary on the weight of your trailer, okay? So if you're doing something with coffee, your trailer is not going to be nearly as heavy as mine. Like, I have fryers, I have fridges, I have freezer, all kinds of stuff in mine that makes it a lot heavier. So that's stuff to keep in mind. I feel like I'm missing points. Let's see. Another thing that I do want to touch on is why I chose a food truck instead of opening a brick and mortar, okay? So for me, a food truck was just way less overhead, and it was just easier to get into. And I like the fact that I can be mobile, I can change my customer, my market. Like, I really enjoy the concept of food trucks, and especially from the time of COVID, it has definitely been a growing thing I've been seeing all around. Like, there's so many food trucks in my area now, there's so many food trucks just in general, and it's a concept I've always loved. And one thing I will say is that my mom and my sister really did like tell me like, hey, you need to open a food truck. And I was like, you know what, I've thought about it, but I never really took the idea seriously until I realized when I was selling plates, like, hey, I have a good product, and I think being able to reach people via a food truck, I feel like I'd make a killing. And yeah, so that's kind of just where the idea kind of sparked, is that I've always had the idea. I always wanted to own my own business, and my family really backed me up on, hey, you really should do this, you need to, because they've heard me talk about it, but they really pushed me. They're like, you need to do this, like, you're too good to not do it, So, I won't lie, the food truck industry is not glamorous, it's not pretty. It requires a lot of hours, it's hard work, and that's something I've also was told when I was talking to other food truck owners. They tell you that it is hard work, and they were not lying. Like me, I've never been scared of hard work, and so when they told me, oh yeah, it's hard work, I'm like, oh, that's any restaurant job, that's any restaurant industry. No, this is a different level of hard work, okay? Working in a restaurant and working on a food truck, two different ball games, especially when you're the owner. Like, there's so many things that I have to keep watch of, so many things that I have to manage, and if I don't do it, it doesn't get done, okay? And if I don't keep my eyes out for it, you know, that's how mistakes and problems can happen. And you know, it requires a lot of work. Owning a business requires a lot of work, and that's just what comes with it. But I think it's work that is worth it in the end, because I have a passion for food, okay? Let's see. I certainly learned as I went. Like I said, like, there's just so many stories that I have for you guys, that there's just so many things that was just clueless to, have no idea. I'm still learning to this day. I will forever be a learner. But yeah, like, I just really want to just remind you guys that not everything needs to be perfect. My plan from day one is not the exact plan that I'm following today. My menu from day one is not what it is today. Nothing from day one is the same as now, okay? I will let you know that my business, everything, my mindset, everything has evolved, and it has really blossomed, honestly. Like, day one is so different from today. So different in the best way possible, honestly. Like, I've had a lot of things to deal with, and you know what, it's like I said, things change. You have to be able to roll with the punches and really give it all you got. Like, there's no giving up when you decide to be an entrepreneur. Like, there's no giving up at all. There's no days off, there's no sleep. Like, the ideas don't stop, the work doesn't stop, your days off aren't your days off. Like, you're always going to be doing something. And yeah, that's just what it takes to own a business, and this is what I did to get into my food truck. What else? Yeah, I feel like if you guys want to own a food truck, food trailer, I highly recommend it. But disclaimer, it is hard work, and it's going to take a lot of your time and a lot of your energy and a lot of your money, but it's not impossible, and it is obtainable. Like, at the time when I opened my food truck, I was 23 years old, and now I'm 26. I'm old now. I'm 26, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm proud of where I've gotten running my business. I'm so beyond grateful and blessed to still exist as a business. I can't tell you how many food trucks that I know that have opened and closed their doors already, and I hate to see that happen. I really do. And I know everyone's situation is different, everyone has their reasons, but I'm just so beyond grateful to still be in business. I'm not saying that I'm making the most money ever, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not, but I'm happy to still exist as a business. That's the bottom line for me, and there's still room for improvement on my end. There's still room for me to do better every day. And yeah, you know, it's just something that you have to keep working at. You have to try different things, you have to re-strategize, replan. Like, there's so many ups and downs that I've faced, and we're still here. So, you know, I have plenty of knowledge and info for you guys to start up. Like, I really truly believe that anybody can do this business, and you know, it just takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of learning, in addition to the research that I was doing. I wish I had the book on me to show you guys, but I got into reading with there's a book that I got, and it's like almost like Food Truck for Dummies, but it's not like Food Truck for Dummies, you know, it's like one of those food truck startup books, and that book had a lot of helpful information in there that also helped me plan my starting process to getting a food truck. I'll show you guys that book later. I'll include it in this video, and I'll probably link it down below. But that book was super helpful as well. Like I said, do your research, Google, ChatGPT, YouTube, books, go to your library, talk to other businesses. Those are all ways you can learn to get a food truck, learn what it takes to have a food truck. Like I said, crowdfunding, credit cards, savings is how I got here. That is not the only way to get here. If financing is what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. If getting a loan is what you need, then do that. If you could qualify for a business loan, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, you guys do your research on credit card stacking. That's another thing I wish I knew that I didn't do, that I wish I did. But yeah, just definitely do your research, network, and don't lose hope. You guys can do this. Like, I'm telling you, like, getting a food truck, it can be easy. Like, it doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be expensive. Like, if you ever thought about starting a food business, this is your sign. Okay, guys? So I'm gonna end this video here. I will include clips that I have of when I first got my food truck, from the build to the search of the trailer, the build, the painting process, and yeah. That concludes my video. In my next video, you guys will see a lot of footage of all the trailers that I viewed at the time. These are throwback clips from when I was first searching and doing my research and really just deciding what was right for me. So thank you guys again for watching. Check out our next video for more detail on how to purchase a trailer. Bye.